bada boom, bada bang, bada bop. We are back today ranking every race shoe from most aggressive to least aggressive. It's not exactly a fastest to slowest ranking, but it's going to give you a good sense of, if you are searching for a new race shoe or you're just obsessed with this stuff, how these shoes compare to each other when it comes to aggression and speed assistance. Now, if you are searching for a race shoe, welcome, you are in the right place, and an even better place would be the Supwell app. So Supwell app is my app. It's the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace out there. We have shoes like this, the Adidas Adios Pro 4, or this, the New Balance SC Elite V5, or this, the Puma Fast R3 that somebody will run in. They don't work for them, so they list them on the app well below MSRP. Let me tell you this right now, Supwell app is the best place to find sub $200 deals on these carbon shoes. I'm gonna have to take my hat off because there's no cap. I have to put my hat back on. I'm not balding. A lot of people think I'm balding. I'm not. Not yet. Am I balding? No, I don't think so. Best buy, sell, and trade marketplace. Best place to connect with other hobby joggers, sickos who are putting in work daily. Best place if you want to get more from your running journey, improve, PR, and be around a group of people who are getting after it daily. So if you're looking for that, or you want to save money on running shoes, get in with us and enjoy today's video. Wednesday, October 8th. When you hear those three words, Wednesday, October 8th, what do you envision? What do you think about in your head? Maybe you picture a nice crisp breeze, blue skies, 55 degrees, some leaves falling slowly. It conjures up a mental image of gentle autumn. School buses driving by, students ambling through an open space in close to 55 degrees, right? No, absolutely not. There's no gentle autumn. There's no rustling leaves. There's no ambling students. It's gosh dang 80 degrees out here, man. 80 degrees on October 8th. Make it make sense. 80 American. You know what that converts to? Probably about 29 European. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know the conversion. That's the next step for me. I think 2026, as we start expanding the Supwell brand, and I was talking about this a few months ago, I'm actually planning to go to the UK, fly out there, do different events with the blokes and everything. I gotta learn my conversions. So 80 American is what in the UK? What's the European conversion? And then if I say something like this morning, I was jogging at a 9-minute per mile pace. This is actually a true story. It's one of my slowest runs, just jogging. I'm trying to do some recovery right now. So jogging at a 9-minute per mile pace, what does that convert to? British, right? And then the other thing is the mileage to kilometers. Because I'll see somebody talking about kilometers. It's like a foreign language. Just a 23-kilometer run. What the heck is that? But I know 5K is 3.1 miles, so then 10K is 3.2 miles. I also know for the marathon, 26.2 miles, that converts to 42.2 kilometers. So we are getting somewhere with the American to British conversion. Now today, speaking of 26.2 miles, speaking of 10Ks and 5Ks, we are going to rank every single race shoe from most aggressive to least aggressive. This is another post that we put up on the Instagram. If you're not following it over there, make sure that you are following it. We do posts like this, the hard-hitting, informative posts. We also do just silly, nonsensical posts like comparing running shoes to NFL quarterbacks. We do some training posts where we'll do top 5 marathon training, long runs, different workouts for shoes. It's really fun. The team has been putting in a lot of work, man. Barrett has been absolutely crushing it this year, leading the charge on the content. I mean, we started this year on the Instagram with I don't know, 1,600 followers or something. I barely even used it because I'm only one man. There's only so much I can do. But with Barrett and with Grant helping out editing all the Instagram reels and posting 2 a day, Grant is actually on a much needed vacation right now. I think he's summiting a mountain in Colorado with limited Wi-Fi, limited service. So that should be pretty fun for him. But yeah, with him putting up the reels 2 a day every day, we're still finding our footing with the reels, but especially on the post side, it's just been going absolutely nuts, and that's the consistent work. So make sure you're following if you're not. It's been a full team effort. It's been fun. What I wanted to do today was do a similar thing, but provide more context, because in the Instagram format, you only get the snapshot. And then here, what I wanted to do was break down with each category. So we can throw up this graphic here. What we did was we ranked every single shoe from most aggressive to least aggressive, and then also provide some context on the 3 categories and break down which types of these shoes you should be looking for your race. So the way that we structured it right off the bat, I'll tell you, the first group of these shoes, aggressive, bang, aggressive. These are the fastest shoes, number 1 to number 8, and the most aggressive to the most or the least aggressive, it doesn't 100% correspond or correlate with fastest to slowest. However, the aggressive shoes are the ones that put you up in that attacking stance. And then the middle category, we have balanced. A balanced shoe would be something that still has some aggression to it, but it doesn't force you to run with such an aggressive form. It doesn't force you to only get up on your calves, because a lot of the aggressive shoes, you have to tear the ground up. They really activate your lower legs. You have to run with good form and good strength. Otherwise, those platforms will punish you. That is the aggressive shoes versus the balanced shoes. They're more forgiving. They still do have the higher end speed. You can grip and rip in them. This one is the Vaporfly 4, but they're not going to be as punishing. And then all the way on the other end of the spectrum, boom, we have the approachable shoes or the comfort-oriented shoes. So these are the shoes that have the most support in them, whether that's the stability, the width, the lateral stability, so support for overpronation, or that's a softer foam. And this is the category of shoes that is the slowest. None of these shoes are the ones that I personally would choose for an all-out PR attempt, given that my race paces are now in the 5s. But if you're in the 7s or the 8s or the 9s or the 10s or 11s or even slower, these would be the shoes that feel the best. Now, what I did want to say is this is not to say, and we had Donnie on the channel, right, given his perspective as a runner who's running different paces than me. This is not to say you can't use an aggressive shoe if you're running an 11-minute pace or a 10-minute pace. No, this is just with the shoes compared to each other, how do they feel? And I would say, though, with the aggressive shoes, for me, it's less about the pace and it's more about the time on feet. And the most viewed video of my channel of all time actually was a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago. It's called Here's Why Pace Matters When Picking a Race Shoe. And one of the things I was talking about was, for the marathon, you're not just thinking about how fast are you going. It's not just about the speed, an 8:30 pace or a 9:30 pace. It's about the time on feet. And so for a 4-hour marathoner, going for one of the aggressive shoes is going to be a lot more punishing, and you're likely not going to be able to run with the form needed to get the optimal benefit out of that shoe for 4 hours. So that's some context there. Again, like the max cushion list I did a few weeks ago or last week, there's not an exact science to it. The only way to tell how exactly fast one shoe is versus another shoe would be to go in the lab and do efficiency testing. What's your maximum oxygen consumption rate in each shoe? What's your heart rate in each shoe? That's not really the goal here. It's more of a directional sense of, okay, this is the group of shoes that is the most aggressive. This is the group of shoes that will work well for the most number of people. This is the group of shoes that is the most comfort oriented. So with that, let us start it off with the fastest, most aggressive shoes. Let me pull up this list right here. Should we say aggressive with our fun graphic? Somebody commented yesterday. They said, I like these lists, but the graphics don't seem to fit your vibe. So I was talking about the other day. I don't know. Some people, they just don't understand. All right, number 1 to number 7, aggressive. Aggressive. Number 1, most aggressive, Nike Streak Fly 2 Number 2, Puma Fast R3. Number 3, Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. Number 4, Asics Metaspeed Ray. Number 5, Adidas Pro Evo 2. I think the official name is Adidas Adios Pro Evo 2. Number 6, Nike Alpha Fly 3. Number 7, Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3. So these are the shoes that actively put you on your toes in an attacking stance, and they reward the greater power outputs generated by fast paces. That's the whole theme of this category. You really got to be ripping and gripping. You got to be accessing that demon time place. You got to be pushing the pace. Now, the most aggressive of these shoes, like the Fast R3 and the Streak Fly 2, you feel it immediately as soon as you lace them up. The less aggressive ones, like the Alpha Fly, they are slightly more forgiving, but still they have the optimal benefit, and you're going to get the most out of them by moving forward, getting up in that forward position. And another characteristic of these shoes, because I got into it with somebody on the Instagram about why is the Metaspeed Ray in here when it's so soft? It's not just about the softness of the foam. Now, a softer foam can feel more forgiving underfoot. However, in the case of the Ray, you have an aggressive heel bevel. So look at this right here. This is something that brands are doing in a lot of the race shoes now to get more foam in the midfoot. They taper it on the back. So because World Athletics measures 12.5% out of the back, you'd be getting that measurement something like right here. So even if this is 40 millimeters, you can go and add 50 millimeters or 60 millimeters right here. So that's what Asics has done with the Metaspeed Ray. And that aggressive heel bevel means it's not as approachable, it's not as comfort oriented. And if you try to heel strike, it almost won't let you, which is going to necessitate more calf strength and work your calves. And the danger of going into a platform that requires all that calf strength, if you don't have it built up, you're going to end up like Mac Jones in prime time last week. You saw what he was doing. He was eating 11 bananas on the sidelines, grabbing his calves in the middle of the game because they were cramping up. And in his case, it was because his knee was banged up, so he was overcompensating. But it's the same exact thing. If we don't have the calf strength, if we don't have the hip strength, if we don't have the strength in one part of our body, and this platform is putting us up in this really aggressive stance, we're gonna feel it. I have felt this firsthand. This is why I don't do all my workouts in the Fast R3. This is why I don't do all my long runs in the Metaspeed Ray, because they are very aggressive shoes, and we gotta train our bodies to work with them. So that's the other thing about this category. Anybody can run in any of these shoes, but similar to a lower drop shoe, we always talk about with the Ultras and the Topos of the world, or people talk about, not me, because I'm not Barefoot Mafia, but the common thread with the zero drop shoes or the barefoot shoes, people always say you got to ease into them. You got to prepare your body and teach them how to use the shoe. So if you're going for something like the SCLE V5 that's more approachable, there's not going to be a huge difference between a regular trainer, a regular everyday running shoe, and that versus the Fast R3 or the Streak Fly. The feel is way different. It's going to activate the calves a lot more. And if you're used to jogging around and running at a pace that doesn't feel super painful, it's not a sprint or an 800-meter race pace, then your body's not going to be prepared. And that's one of the biggest things for me, not having the track background. I feel it, because a lot of these most aggressive shoes, with putting them up on your toes, they force me to run in a way that I'm not used to, because I didn't do track workouts growing up. I haven't run a whole lot of miles or repeats at a 450 pace. So anytime I'm doing that, it's still relatively new to the body. So that's something to think about with these more aggressive shoes. They do place different demands on the body than you would typically be used to if you're coming from something like a Nike Vomero Plus, or even a Super Blast 2, or even a Hyperion Max 3 that's plated, or a Mach X3 that's plated. The most aggressive shoes just place different demands on the body. So with that, some great examples in this category. This is the Puma Fast R3. This is the fastest marathon shoe out there. We put the Streak Fly as the most aggressive because that is super stripped down and streamlined. They are very similar shoes, Streak Fly and Fast R3, in terms of how they feel to run in, but this just has way more cushion, and Streak Fly 2 is almost a different type of shoe. It's almost not even a running shoe. It's more of a track spike for the road. So this is the one that I would go for if you want the ultimate in race day technology in 2025. If you want the absolute fastest ride, Puma did a whole lot of lab testing. There was also independent people who did lab testing. I can verify just from my own workout splits and data, this is the fastest shoe by far. I feel like I get 5 to 6 sometimes 5 to 6 seconds per mile of assistance in this. No exaggeration, man. So yeah, lab verified, anecdotal data, hobby jogger certified, Supwell certified, fastest shoe out there. But again, there are trade-offs. It's gonna work your calves more, so you just gotta be prepared for that. I also did hear FOD Runner said, very similar to how I've been feeling about this shoe, he might not use it for his marathon because it worked him so much during the half marathon. And he ran I think his recent PR was something like a 1:11:53, really fast time. That's a round of 5:30 or 5:20 something pace, and even he, who is an experienced runner, is feeling like this is wrecking him. So just something to be mindful of. There are trade-offs when going for these most aggressive fast shoes. Now, another shoe I want to highlight, two more here, Asics Metaspeed Ray. So again, with this guy, you get the heel bevel. So if you just look at this shoe, right, what the heel bevel does is it forces you to be up on your toes. You cannot land on the heel of this shoe. It will roll you right through. And as soon as you land, it puts you up in that aggressive stance. And then it also has this super aggressive rocker. So not only is it putting you up on the stance, it's forcing you to quickly transition through the stride and just putting a ton of stress on the legs, and specifically the lower legs. The other thing with this shoe here is, yes, the foam is soft, but it is so energetic. So it's just not really a jogging shoe or a time on foot shoe. And because it's so soft, you get this heel that can be unstable at certain paces. And for me, Saucony actually said the Endorphin Elite 2 was supposed to firm up as you went faster. I didn't feel that at all, but with this, I did feel that. And it also just felt a lot more stable as I was going faster, going my marathon pace or threshold pace, which is 5:40s to 5:30s. But I don't actually know if the foam was firming up, or because I'm attacking, getting up in that aggressive stance up at the forefoot, it's almost like you don't need the heel there, so the stability issues are eliminated and you're landing right up on the plate. So this is another one. This is a softer, more forgiving alternative. I definitely do not feel as beat up running in this as the Fast R3. It's also lighter than the Fast R3. It's gonna work better for higher cadence runners, people who are lighter on their feet, or if you just want a softer feel. The way I think about it is, if you're historically a Vaporfly fan, I would go for this. If you are historically an Asics Metaspeed Edge fan, I would go for this. If you're a Sky Tokyo fan or an Alphafly fan, I would go for the Fast R3. Now, one more shoe to highlight here. This is something completely different. Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3, one of the most underrated shoes out there, man. And I really wish I didn't have it in this colorway, because it's almost like, just because of how it looks, it's written off and it's not in the conversation and it's not in contention. And they do have different colorways now, but this is an absolute beast. One of the most energetic foams out there, the Mizuno Energy XP. It's super aggressive in how it puts you up on your toes. It's in that Goldilocks zone for the foam, not too soft, not too firm. It's not as firm and aggressive as the Fast R3, and it feels a lot more protective because you get all that foam. And then it's not as soft and squishy as the Metaspeed Ray. And similar to the Ray, once you put some mustard into it, it really comes alive. It's also $250 for a really cool piece of tech. So if you want to try something different that you're not going to see anybody, I guarantee you at your local marathon, you're not going to see anybody wearing this, but even in the majors, man, you're not going to see a lot of people wearing this. There'll probably be a few dozen people in New York or Chicago wearing these. But man, when I did Chicago last year, it was Alphafly City. I really did not see very many shoes other than Alphaflies. I saw a few Sky Paris, a few Endorphin Elite 2, and I was running around sub 250, sub 240 folks for most of my time. And those were really the three shoes I saw. So if you want to try something completely different, also if you just want a really good shoe that has a lot of value, great grip, this is one of the best ones in the aggressive camp. Tons of cushion, and again, verified by me in the mileage. I don't run multiple times in bad shoes and take these bad shoes out for workouts multiple times. I've done 2 20-mile long runs in this thing. Matter of fact, I think both of them, if not at least one of them, was a 22-mile long run. So running this thing a ton, absolute beast. All right, moving on. And of course the Alphafly from this category is great as well, but how many clicks have been spilled on the Alphafly? We don't need to talk about that. All right, category number 2, balanced. I should get some theme music too for when we do the woo. That kind of reminds me of woo. Anyone know what that is? Snoop. I don't know why people say I'm annoying. 8-15, number 8, Adios Pro 4, number 9, Asics Metaspeed Edge Tokyo, number 10, Nike Vaporfly 4, number 11, Brooks Hyperion Elite 5, number 12, Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3, number 13, Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3 Low, number 14, Saucony Endorphin Elite 2, number 15, Hoka Cielo X1 2.0. So this is the category that balances speed with comfort, that balances being fast with having some cushion, that balances the aggression with more of a laid back feel. So this is the category that's going to feel best for the widest variety of runners. It's also the category that I would be comfortable doing a marathon PR attempt in, but wouldn't be my first choice as a sub 240 marathon runner who's training for a 2:30 time. So depending on where you are in the pace range, this might be perfect for you. Maybe it's going to be too aggressive for you, or maybe it's not going to be aggressive enough. I think the 3 to 4 hour marathoners, this is really going to be the sweet spot. Some people might want a more aggressive shoe, and again, it depends how you're achieving that time. And of course, there's a big difference between a 3:01 marathon and a 3:59 marathon. But generalizing here, this is the category of runners, 3 to 4 hour marathoners. You're training. You've put in the work, you're running 40 to 60 miles per week, you have the strength to be able to optimize the carbon shoe. You're likely, hopefully, if you're following this channel, you're giving yourself a shot to finish the marathon strong, so you can go for something with some aggression to it. So a few to highlight here. I want to pull out the Vaporfly, not my absolute favorite, but with the deals coming up on this thing, sub $200, that makes it a much better buy, and especially compared to something like the Takumi Sen 11, which was just disappointing. This is not a bad shoe at all. I just, at the $260 or is it $270 now MSRP, just not worth it. But with Nike and Adidas, they all cut their prices, so this is one to consider, especially for 10K and 5K racing. If you're somebody who mainly races those distances and you're doing a lot of track style workouts or interval style workouts, this will be great. You get lots of rubber coverage on it. I should get another workout in it. I don't have too many workouts left. I think I only have 2 workouts left over the next few weeks, but after that, it's just overall a solid shoe. I really wish they priced this at $200 because that would be a really good deal at MSRP. But with the deals you could find under $200, not bad. But I would only recommend this on a deal, and I don't actually know what the deals are. I just know that this has been a shoe that's popping up for deals consistently. Now, another one here, or 2 more that I will highlight. So I did want to bring this guy out, Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3 Low. This is a variant of the Pro 3 standard. It's $230. So speaking of deals, best race shoe deal on the market. This, I guess it's tied with the Puma Deviate Nitro Elite 3. And again, I've talked about that one ad nauseum. I've talked about it so much, so I wanted to bias some of these newer releases and give shine to shoes I haven't talked about as much. Of course, the Deviate Nitro Elite 3 is still great. Still all the things I said about it last year. Stable, works well for a variety of runners. Foam holds up really well. Outsole is great and holds up really well. But with this thing, it has a lot of the similar characteristics of the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. It is the best replacement for the Adios Pro 3. So if you missed that firmer, more robust feel of the Adios with the, again, not too aggressive platform. And the Adios, the Pro 3, was actually never a shoe I loved. I ran a 26-mile long run around the neighborhood, or a Mint Hill Marathon here in that thing. But I don't know, I could never get the special feeling that a lot of people got out of that shoe. It just always felt slightly too firm and not fun enough. This one is like the best version of that Adios Pro 3. It's slightly softer. The foam very much feels like the Light Strike Pro, and it's interesting how this foam responds differently with the lower stack height than the Wave Rebellion Pro 3 standard. That one feels more explosive. That one feels bouncier and more wild. This one is more of a shoe that is gonna support you as you go out there and rip, but it's not going to do the running for you. And that's the thing with the most aggressive shoes. They're definitely giving you that 2 or 3 or 4 or even 5-6 second assistance like the Fast R3. This category, not as much assistance, but still really good. I ran my fastest and biggest workout of the block in this thing, 10-mile threshold workout, where I averaged 5:24 pace across 10 miles. Brutal session. It was 2 by 3 miles and then 2 by 2 miles. That was right at the end of when I was just putting down some awesome workouts, and I've just been putting down terrible workouts recently. We don't even need to talk about it. Actually, yesterday was not a terrible workout. Yesterday was a nice workout. It was 12 by 1 minute, that VO2 max pace with short recoveries to keep the heart rate elevated. Regardless, great shoe, man, really great shoe. Best workout of the block. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. And again, you can run a fast time in any of these. And this is the other thing, I was hoping to mention this at the beginning, but I'll say it now. You can PR in any of these shoes. You can run a fast time in any of these shoes. I know somebody's going to say Johnny Appleseed ran a 1:59 marathon in the On Cloud Boom Strike. Why are you putting it in the approachable camp? But guess what? Johnny Appleseed has not run workouts in all 28 or 29 of these shoes like I have. It is not saying that this shoe is slower or faster than the other shoe. It's saying this shoe is more or less aggressive compared to its peers, which maybe will make it slower or faster. But what you have to remember is Johnny Appleseed, if he ran a 1:59 marathon in the Cloud Boom Strike, is an on athlete. So that's just the shoe. He's going to run it. It's the thing that drives me crazy, man. Adios Pro 4 is on so many podiums. Yeah, because Adidas has the biggest marketing budget and they sponsor the best athletes. That's why the Adios Pro 4 is on so many podiums. If Mizuno started spending tons of money on sponsoring elite athletes, this would be on every podium. It just drives me insane. Speaking of that, though, I did want to highlight the Adios Pro 4. So this is a softer shoe. It's on that line to me. This really is a great example of this category of balanced, because when I want to go out there and run fast and attack, it is able to do that. I've run some really fast workouts in this, and I also had a pair that was half a size too big that I ran a fast workout in. I did a 10-mile PR in that out of the box. In this pair, I've done tons of threshold work in the 5-teens and 5:20s. I did a treadmill workout. It's almost going to say treadmill marathon. No, I didn't. I did do a treadmill marathon in the Pegasus Premium. But in this, a workout, I think it was mile repeats or kilometer repeats. Yeah, kilometer repeats at a 5 flat pace. So very fast, another VO2 max style workout. It can handle that. But the last run I did in it, I was tired, not feeling great, coming off of sickness and all this stuff. But I was trying to get down to marathon pace, and I just felt like it didn't have the bite and the aggression that I wanted. And I've heard the same thing from other testers. Meredith on our team said the same exact thing. She's also way different size than I am, different paces, different foot strike. She was echoing the same sentiments. Same thing with Midlife Runner. He was echoing the same sentiments, that it's just slightly softer than we'd like as hobby joggers. And maybe if you're running a 2:04 marathon, it's different, but for us hobby joggers, it just doesn't have the same bite as the Fast R3, right? So that's the thing you got to remember. Fast R3, aggressive. Adios Pro 4, it's not a slow shoe, but it's just not as aggressive as the Fast R3. But if you are looking for a soft race day experience, this is a great pick. It's also a whole lot cheaper than the Meta Speed Ray, so if price and budget is a consideration, this is a good one to go for. And not just the MSRP, but Adidas has discounted this a ton. I don't know what the current deals are, but there have been times over the past few months where I've seen people on the Supwell app post about how you can get this at $150 on Amazon and all this stuff. So yeah, of course, stay tuned on the Supwell app for people to post links, but this is one that is a great deal when you can find it. Now, last balanced shoe. No, was that the last balanced shoe? That was the last balanced shoe. And it is very, this is not good today. The sun is just in and out, man. Yeah, it can't be perfect. It can't be perfect. I buy the shoes with my own money. I run in the shoes. I analyze the shoes. I do all this stuff. I film the videos. I edit the videos. It can't be perfect. It can't be perfect. Yesterday, the cord wasn't plugged in all the way, so the audio was thin. I tried to turn it up. I'm sorry. This is just what happened. I would love for every video to be perfect and for the quality to be better, and I would love to have the best videography out there, but That's just not where it is. I think sometimes people think I don't know. I know it's not perfect. I know. It's just, this is what we do. We just roll with it. I'm not proud of it, but you know what I am proud of? Just grinding every day and giving the people value. So it's a trade-off. If I made 1 video a week or 2 videos a week, I could have better audio and I could become a camera expert. But instead of doing that, I'm running all the mileage, trying to keep the community going, trying to grow the business, etc. So it's just trade-offs. I don't know. There's tons of other channels out there if you prioritize AV expertise. All right, most approachable category. Let's throw up our beautiful graphic here. Boys talking about I don't know how to edit. Disrespectful. Number 16 to number 23. We didn't put the pacer in here. Somebody was asking me about the pacer. I would probably put it in this category, so I guess it would be 16 to 24. I was also, when I was talking smack about Johnny Appleseed, I said there was 28 to 29. That was not true. There's 23. Number 16 on Cloud Boom Strike. Are we in the darkness again? It's hard to tell. New Balance SCLE V5 at number 17. Number 18. Shout out Randall Cobb. Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Number 19, Adidas Takumi Sen 11. 20, Hoka Rocket X3. 21, Diadora Gara Carbon 2. 22, Tracksmith Elliott Racer. And the least aggressive, slowest shoe out there. And this is a case where least aggressive correlates with slowest. Also the heaviest one, I think, on this list, the On Cloud Boom Max. So these are the most comfortable shoes. These are the ones that are soft. These are the ones that are approachable. They're not going to feel like a completely different category of shoe like the Nike Streak Fly 2 is not going to absolutely tear up your calves. And of course, if you're running an interval session and you're doing a sprint workout or something, there's always the chance and the likely outcome that your calves are going to get torn up. But for marathon pace, for most people, these shoes aren't going to completely wreck you. These are the ones that are going to feel the best and the closest to an everyday running shoe. So 2 of the highlights of this category here, bang, New Balance SCLE V5. This was my favorite race shoe of the summer for training. Sky Tokyo came out. I was loving that. But with this one, I think I put about 55 miles on it in a week or something. I just couldn't stop running it. It is so comfortable. It has the bounce. It has the pep, but it just feels like an everyday running shoe. It's almost like a plated daily trainer. It's what I wanted the SC Trainer V3 to be, but I could really run workouts in it. Now with the Mega Blast coming out, it's almost like that one took what this was, is just doing it differently because it doesn't have the carbon plate versus this has the carbon plate. But if you're looking for a soft race shoe that is not too soft, that's more in that Goldilocks zone, but it's very approachable, I would go for the SCLE V5. They did raise the price on this, so it was $250 at release. Then they raised it to $265, and then they also raised it to $280 for certain colorways. So if you get the Hype colorway, which I don't even think the Hype colorways were better. It was this beige tie-dye for $280 versus this one. It looks great, super clean and bright, $250. And speaking of people running fast times and shoes that aren't the most aggressive, Alex Yee, that's a New Balance athlete, ran a 2:11 in this. I've done marathon pace workouts in the 5:40s. It has plenty of speed. It really does. It's not going to be the same amount of speed assistance as the Fast R3, but for most people out there, especially if you're in the 3 hour to 4 hour plus range, this is going to be plenty of assistance and pop for the marathon or any time really, and any race distance. All right, last one. Last recommendation for an approachable shoe. This was one of my favorite race shoes of last year on Cloud Boom Strike, and just with the way that the hype cycle goes and the new releases, let's take a look here at the new releases. Yeah, all of these shoes have released after this. We have the Fast R3, the Ray, the SCLE V5, and the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 3 Low that have all just released over the past 6 months or so, and then Vaporfly, Adios, and the Mizuno they released earlier this year. But it's just hard. Some of these shoes get buried unless you're the Alpha Fly 3 and you're gonna see them everywhere. They don't stay top of mind. If you go to the Running Warehouse page and you look at new releases, it's not gonna be up there. If you look at reviews on the Supwell app, you're not gonna see a ton of new reviews on this thing because the people who bought it last year have probably moved on to other things. But It's one of the shoes that has aged really well. I ran it a few months ago at this point. It's aged really well. It can stand up to any of these shoes. I did some of my biggest workouts of my sub 240 block in this shoe. I did a 20-mile long run with 14 miles at marathon pace, which last year was around a 6 flat. I also did first run out of the box, 24-mile long run with 8 or so miles at threshold, which last year was 5:30 to 5:40 pace. And then I did another workout with 10 miles at threshold in this. So I did some crazy fast workouts in this thing last year. It's one of those rare shoes that's soft and fast and stable and comfortable. Just really a fantastic shoe. I would still be running in it if I didn't have all these other shoes to test. It's one of those shoes where every time I run in it, I think, man, I should run in this more. But that's just, I think, one of the trade-offs of being a tester. I'm not complaining because I love trying all these shoes, but I just rotate different things so I can get insights and stay up to date on what's on the market. So one of the sleepers out there is $280, but very worth it. I would take this over the SC Elite V5 for speed. I might even take this over the Adios Pro 4 in terms of speed. The Adios Pro 4 does have a more aggressive feel because it puts you up on your toes more. This feels more relaxed. So this is a case of it has a very relaxed feel, but when you want to attack, you can. So a very versatile shoe, and has now become a sleeper pick. I wish we could find good deals on this. Of course, you could find good deals on the Supple app, but I wish you could find good deals at MSRP because right now it's still $280 at most places. So there you go. That is the ranking of every race shoe from most aggressive to most comfort oriented. I'm trying to anticipate some questions. I know people are going to ask about, okay, Edge versus Sky. Why is the Sky most aggressive, more aggressive? So, few things. Plate position in the Sky, that's the main reason. The plate is up closer to the foot. It gives a firmer feel. Typically, firmer will feel more aggressive. Also, with the plate position and the firmer foam on top, it just does feel like it gets you more up on your toes versus the Edge, softer, more forgiving forefoot, and also a more stable, just chunkier heel. I don't love the Edge in last generation or this generation, but it is a more approachable shoe with that firmer heel. It's just going to give you more stability out in the back. The Sky Tokyo, it benefits from you getting up on that forefoot and activating the plate up close to the foot. Other things, what are other questions people are going to ask? Alpha Fly versus Vaporfly. Yeah, I think with the Alpha Fly versus Vaporfly, this is not a very aggressive geometry. This is a very flat geometry. So while this is lower to the ground and feels firmer than the Vaporfly, it doesn't have the same roll. It's not gonna work you as much, and it doesn't put you as aggressively up on your toes. It's much flatter. Same thing with the Takumi Sen 11. That's why the Takumi Sen 11 is in the approachable camp, and on the graphic Barrett wrote it's in the approachable camp for the wrong reasons. It almost feels like a daily trainer, and yes, you can run fast in it, and I've had a ton of super fast people tell me they like that shoe specifically for track training, but the reason people like it is because it's a very simple shoe, not because it's giving a ton of speed assistance. So if you're already fast, it's one of the reasons I like the Boston 13. Right, the Boston 13 is light, it's nimble, it's direct, it's not giving me a ton of speed assistance like the Fast R3, but it just lets me do my thing, and it's a great shoe for developing speed mechanics. That's the same thing as the Takumi Sen 11. The difference is the Takumi Sen 11 is billed as a race shoe, and it's gosh dang heavier than the Vaporfly, and it's supposed to be a 5K race shoe, and it has less foam than the Vaporfly. It has less foam than the Fast R3, and it's heavier than the Fast R3. So that's the issue with the Takumi Sen. There's not a lot of assistance, there's not a lot of bite or pop. Yes, you can run fast in it, but it just doesn't feel as aggressive as some of these other shoes, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. What are some other questions we're gonna get here? I'm trying to anticipate. Yeah, Cielo 2.0 and Endorphin Elite 2, softer shoes. The Cielo is just a weird one to me, man. That shoe has so much potential because the geometry of it is aggressive. I've talked about this ad nauseum as well. Talked about it till I'm blue in the stack. But the Cielo 2.0, it almost looks like it's raining flies. Do you see that? Cielo 2.0, aggressive geometry with a softer foam feel, so that's why it's in the middle camp. Another shoe that's not my favorite, but I know Barrett likes that. He's more of a forefoot striker. And then, yeah, in the approachable camp, Rocket X3, that's a solid shoe for, just highlighting some other ones I didn't talk about. Rocket X3 is a solid shoe if you want something stable and you're more of that 9 to 12 minute range. Not my favorite, being in the 5 minute range. The Gara Carbon 2, very soft shoe that's fun, but it just feels like the market has moved on from that. I liked the Gara OG last year, but there's just so many good options out there, and that one's also $300. Yeah, Elliott Racer, nice pick if you want something super soft. Doesn't have the bite of some of these other ones. And then Endorphin Pro 4, we know the Pro 5 is coming out, I think, top of the year next year. Endorphin Pro 4, that was my first sub-3 race shoe right there. So definitely a viable shoe. It does have some firmness to it when you try to pick up the pace and run fast, and a really fun snap. But I think it's just hard to recommend the Endorphin Pro 4 now as someone who tests all these shoes, because it came out so long ago. I'm training for a 230, sub 230 right now, and I ran in that a year and a half ago or longer when I was training for a sub 3. So it was just a long time ago, and I think a lot of people have moved on. It's hard because these shoes come out every month or so, and it's hard to hang on to relevance like the Alpha Fly has. So let me know any other questions you have in the comments below. Make sure you're signed up for the Supwell app to get the best deals on these shoes. Make sure you're following the Instagram. I appreciate you, and I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Thought I was going bald? I just bald like Chris Paul. These boys getting soft like the Adios. Trying to keep up with me, but it's not close. Somebody compared me to the Alpha Fly 3 on our Instagram, because we compared everybody to, or NFL quarterbacks to running shoes. In this troll account commented, did this whole comment. It was actually kind of clever, I have to give it to him, comparing running shoe reviewers to shoes. And they said I was the Alpha Fly 3 because I'm fast, loud, and condescending. It was kind of funny. Kind of funny, honestly. But I told them, no. You're the Saucony Convara 16 because you're irrelevant and lame. Me, I'm the Brooks Glycerin GTS 22 because I'm giving your mom exactly what she needs.